Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Josh Halter, owner and founder of the Bldg. So today I actually have this is the first part of a 5-part series. We have a lot of questions of what plants work best for your substrates, Bldg. So today I'm actually going to cover the Terra Flora. So the Terra Flora is my high humidity forest floor bioactive substrate. Now this is for type of reptiles and amphibians that thrive in humidity complexes that are between 85% and higher consistently. So when it comes to that, you need to have very specific types of plants that can handle a couple things. One, they can handle not as much airflow, but a little bit of airflow. Two, it's wet. It's wet all the time. Three, the soil is wet all the time, as well as clunky soil that isn't really a dirt consistency, but more of a here's a lot of pieces type of ABG consistently for a proper root growth. So the first thing I want to show you is one of the Flora setups that we've had going for a little bit. We actually have some Dendrobates tinctorius backwees in here. So these are the smallest locality of tinks that you can get. So this tank is thriving. We have my hydro-grow drainage layer in here with a screen with a nice layer of Terra Flora. So as you can see, we have a lot of different plants in here growing. We have a beautiful, stunning Begonia. We have a Pepperomia. As you can see, we also have some live moss, some oak creeping fig, as well as a terrace fern. And we have a whole bunch of Bromeliads and other things back here. And this tank is just has been taken over, but the frogs love it. We don't see them that much, but when you think Terra Flora, this is what I want you guys to think. It's wet. It is physically wet to the touch. Now, the plants that we're going to be going over, I'm going to keep it brief, but obviously one of the first things that come to mind is Bromeliads. So when you go into your tropical rainforest jungles, you are almost always seeing Bromeliads, whether if you're in Costa Rica, whether you go down a little bit more south, heck, even in Florida, in your more tropical regions, you have different types of Bromeliads. So Bromeliads in general are epiphytes, which means they like to be planted and they grow above the ground. So these are mother plants. So as you can see here, these epiphytes here, these beautiful Bromeliads, these are some of the mother plants that I sell here at the Bldg. They are fully rooted, ready to grow. So if you wanted to plant these in the ground with well draining and ventilated soil, you could do that. But then the most typical Bromeliads that you're going to see are these types right here. So these are assorted Neoregalia Bromeliads, and you notice how they have these little stems down here. So as you can see, these are the way that we're going to be mounting them in our tank. So as you saw in the dart frog enclosure, we had them mounted, and we also have a bunch of them mounted in here. This is my complete paludarium base. And as you can see, we have, you can see the root systems coming out of the base here, and that's how these guys rehydrate. And then as they grow and get a little bit, more mature, they start shooting off offsets here at the base. So when you're utilizing the Terra Flora, the Bromeliads are a great option for providing opportunity zones for water. So I'll show you over here. So this is also some, in here, this is Terra Fauna, so this is slightly different, but if you come into this Bromeliad right here, you can see Miss Borneo chilling there in the center axle. And that's where Bromeliads are clutch, because they give your critters opportunity zones to soak, they give your critters a place to hide, and in some cases, some of your other animals will use them as breeding hubs. So that's really, really important. So when you're building a Terra Flora setup, Bromeliads are almost always going to be a plant that you're going to want to use. And there's also air plants. So air plants are also epiphytes, and there's so many different types of Tillandsias and other types. They're mounted exactly like the Bromeliads, but these guys need really good airflow. So if you're going to try Tillandsias in a Terra Flora setup, you need to make sure that it's either by a computer fan or that you are there's some type of airflow going on there, because if not, they will rot. Now, let's go to the terrestrial plants. Now, there are so many options available to you. One thing I love about the Flora is you can have plants that are bright, colorful, vibrant, stunning, like Gordon Ramsay would say. So I am all about the creeps. I love creeping plants. So this is the creeping fig. I have 2 of them in here. You saw the oak leaf creeping fig and the vacuous enclosure. This you can mount epiphytically. This you can mount in a background. This you can put on the ground, and as it grows, it will spread, whether it's in your background, whether it's on a cork tube, wherever, and you can plant it and place it where you want it to grow and how you want it to grow. As far as more ground covering plants go, there are a lot of different types of orchids that you can use. So in here we have 2 different types of jewel orchids. We have a lightning jewel orchid and a black jewel orchid, which we have at thebiodude.com. So these are actually grown by Chase at Houston Frogs. Chase has been doing great things for the dart frog community. It's really great to have some of his products here. So these are some of the jewel orchids, and they can be a little bit more challenging to grow, but honestly, if your substrate's draining correctly and you're keeping up with humidity, they will thrive. Then there's other types of beautiful bromelia, beautiful types of plants, such as a rattlesnake plant. This is a Calathea lancifolia. Now this plant, I've even gotten this to grow in Firma. But in your huge setups, like your humid bioactive dart frog setups, I've seen some of my customers have rattlesnake plants with leaves that are over 14 inches long, with this plant getting 12 inches high. So this is a really good Terra Flora option, as is this small Calathea right here. This is a beautiful little Calathea that will cover your ground. Then we can move to some Pepperomias. I love me some Pepperomias. So Pepperomias come in all shapes and sizes. One of the biggest factors for me when I'm looking at Pepperomias, a lot of them have little almost heart-shaped leaves. So some of them are more textured, some of them are flatter, but a lot of them grow the same. Some of them are epiphytes, but the ones that you get from me here at the BioDude, they're all going to be terrestrial, okay? And if you're unsure, you can look at the plant description on my website where we break down what animals it works for, what substrate it works for, and the humidity and size. But these are another really good option. And you saw in the backweeds enclosure over here, we literally have a beautiful one that's huge, that's taken up that back right corner there. So you can see a really good example. Then there are some people that are for it and some people that are against it. Depending on the habitat with how your humidity is going to be, you can also grow carnivorous plants. So this right here is a pitcher plant. So we don't have any active pitchers on here. We have a couple, so you can see a new pitcher that's growing right here. It's a baby. We have another one growing right there, but pitcher plants are a really good way to catch excess fruit flies that you may not want to deal with or that may get out. I love using carnivorous plants. You have to pay attention to the soil. You have to make sure they're a southern species because northern species need cycled, put into the fridge, all that stuff. We don't want to deal with that. We just want ones that you can plop in the tank and grow. So the King Henry fly traps and the pitcher plants that I have at BioDude.com, we use them in our terrariums. Some people don't like it. I do. So, you know, I'm going to rock and roll with that when I can. Then we also have other options, such as these other types of philodendrons. We have this beautiful, I believe this is a philodendron here. This one will get big, tall, and spread. But if you really want a showstopper, guys, I'm all about begonias. Begonias grow like weeds in the Terra Flora. These are probably one of the hardest plants, though, that some of my customers have issues. I want to say have issues with. A, they're hard to ship. 2, they have to be wet almost all the time. 3, you cannot let it stagnate, because if that air stagnates, which your tank shouldn't be doing anyway, it will rot. So how I have that backweeds enclosure down there, 80% covered with a 20% screen, that begonia is thriving. And that's exactly the type of results that I would recommend. Then you have Selaginella. Now, Selaginella comes in a lot of shapes and sizes, so this is the red variety. Now, I love me some Selaginella. The solid green version is absolutely beautiful. But we offer both, and we're very happy to, you know, have a lot of customers have great success. Then we have two taller type of plants here. So the first one, this I can grow this in Arania, Firma, Fauna, and Flora. This is an arrowhead vine, hence the name. It can be pink, it can be green, it all depends on the amount of light that you give it, and of course the different varieties. Sometimes you can get ones that are solid green with white stripes that go down here and to the sides. You can get ones that are pink, like you can see with this one, and then you get these beautiful Alocassia right? This is an Alocassia poly. These plants get big. I mean, if you let them, they will get whoom. But if you are good and maintain your terrarium, you can prune them to grow to the size that you want. Which, again, this makes another really good option. And a lot of what's really nice about these, this is 2 plants in 1 pot right here. So if you get this from the BioDude, you know, you're going to get it. It looks just like this. And if you wanted to, you can literally break these in half right here and plant 1 and 1. You have 2 plants for the price of 1. Then there's mosses. So another good example of mosses over here. I love going to this tank. I love it because this tank freaking rules. This is a 100% glass covered tank, which means ventilation is not very high, i.e. similar to your Flora conditions. So we got our infected cordyceps right here. So we have some beautiful Christmas moss that is really overtaking here. Look at this growth rate here. And you can see the water level. The water level is right here. Okay, so this tank is getting pretty high.
And here we have an inch plant,
which is really growing well. He's actually covering up our bloater. There we go. I don't want the bloater covered up. He's my favorite. We got a shambler right down here. And you can actually see some of the moss is actually growing onto him right here at the base, which is pretty cool. And then we also have another type of my Texas native moss that I sell here, which I'll show you guys in a minute. We have a strain growing here. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Then we have a strain growing right here, which this stuff is nice, beautiful, and fluffy. And then we have normal sheet moss, which isn't doing as well as I want, but it's okay. It's not doing too bad. You can see that growing right here. But what I'm noticing more is right along here, you're noticing fresh green tips. So it's getting there. It's just taking its time to acclimate. And then we have the red Selaginella, or sorry, the green Selaginella, which is right here. Again, these are all plants that you can use in your Terra Flora BioDude setup. Beautiful. I love this tank, guys. I mean, this was, you know, I'm a huge video game nerd, and just building this, it was so much fun. And the way that it's growing, I really need to get some moss starting to grow on that skyscraper, but once I do that, I'll be good. So here at the BioDude, we offer lots of different types of mosses. So I don't ship this yet because it's very limited in supply. So this is our Showgrade moss that we have at point of sale. Typically has between 2 and 4 species of moss in the box, from pillow to a type of sheet, and you can see there's fresh growth in here already. Freaking beautiful. We also have the dried sheet, which is right here. So all of our mosses are 100% natural. They don't have any fake dyes or chemicals in them, like a lot of products do. You can see that this stuff will grow in your tank. What's nice with this, if you guys are breeding dart frogs or like have rocks in your enclosure, you wet this and put it over it, and it will attach to the wood, and it will actually grow off the wood. So you can make moss-covered cocoa huts, which is pretty cool. And then we also have aquatic mosses. Now, aquatic mosses can be pretty tricky, but if it's on a moist surface that wicks water consistently, it will grow. So in here we have some Taiwan moss, which we do offer on the biodude.com. Okay, and I'll show you how some of this moss grows on the rocks. That way you guys can kind of get a better look. And then we also have some of the Java moss. So almost everybody who's known, everybody knows about Java. A lot of times it's not as pretty until you get it under really bright light into the water. But it will grow. Last but not least, when you are mounting your bromeliads, I highly recommend using like some spag moss or something of the like. That's to help keep a little bit of moisture at the base of the roots, so that way you have great success growing your epiphytes. So let me show you. Want to go back to this enclosure really quick, just so that way you guys can see aquatic moss. So a lot of the moss right here is growing from the Texas moss, but right back here, right here in this little section underneath this this bromeliad right here, this is actually one of our aquatic mosses. I believe this is the Christmas moss. So as you can see, it has directly attached onto this cork right here, and it is really starting to spread, and we even have some starting to attach onto the monkey pods here too. So again, pretty exciting stuff. I just wanted to show you guys. So again, what I covered today are just plants that work with your Terra Flora bioactive kit. If you're unsure, you can email us at customer care. We can really help you pick out what plants are best for you. But under each plant on the website, not only do we sell specific kits that are Terra Flora centric, so we'll pick plants out of bundles like this that give you a best chance of success, but you can also go and look at the descriptions of the plants and see if they're going to fit your build. Guys, my name's Josh Halter, owner and founder of the Bldg. I really appreciate everybody's support. Come visit my store Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4, Saturday 10 to 2. Like, subscribe, follow. The dude abides.